here. And as you set yourself up, yes, to find a seat that offers some clarity, a seat that offers stability, a seat that offers as much ease as you can find in this moment, this evening. Eyes can be closed or they can be softly gazing downward as you take some time here just to settle into yourself. Oh, in an Uber. Oh no, okay. Awesome. And whatever you need to do, if you need to go out and come back in, I'll keep an eye on the door here. So don't worry about it. So allowing yourself to just put down the stories, whatever they might be, the story you've been telling yourself many times. I know I've got mine, to put it down for now, to let your knots begin to untangle, to move from a place of perhaps rushing or intensity, urgency, to care. Right? Caring instead of rushing and becoming more sensitive. So giving yourself some time here to become more sensitive, to feel the touch of the breath at your nostrils or your upper lip. And to notice your exhales, beginning with the exhales today. Noticing without any need to fix or change, but just notice as you pay attention to your exhale with an alert but easeful presence. Are they long? Are they short? Are they calm or are they jagged? Do they leave your body in a rush? Or do you not quite get to the bottom? I find often that I don't even give myself the chance to get to the bottom of the exhale. So just noticing, not trying to fix, not trying to control, just paying attention to your exhale. And then starting to pay attention to the spaces between the breath. To notice here, are you rushing to get to the inhalation? Are the spaces short? Are they maybe even non-existent? Again, it's okay. We're paying attention, keeping awareness on the space between the breath, and just noticing without any judgment or story about it. And then shifting to the inhale, to let your awareness rest on the breath in, and to notice it. Where does it come into your body? Does it come in at the tips of the nostrils? Does it come in at the upper lip? Are the breaths that come warm? Are they cool? Are you grasping for them, or do they just appear out of nowhere? Again, just observing, not trying to change anything, interfering less, and letting the natural flow of your breath move on its own accord. And then finally watching 4 parts of the breath. The inhale, the space before the exhale, and the sweet pause just before you inhale again. And so allowing your mind to fall into the rhythm, the equilibrium of that. Inhale, space, exhale, space, letting the process unfold and come to equilibrium. And we'll begin in child's pose today. So we're going to do some heart focus, chest, shoulders, neck, all that good stuff today. So starting in child's pose, and I'll offer in some of these shapes, I'll offer some variations which you can take or not, always up to you. So in this child's pose, you can be very happy to stay right where you are in the center of it, or we can do half and half, walking over to one side laterally and then the other side. All right. So, hi again, Aya. Child's pose. You haven't missed a thing. All we did was breathe. So child's pose, and if you want to stay center, you stay center. Otherwise, we're going to go maybe 2 minutes on one side, 2 minutes walking in the other direction. And so you could take yourself with knees wide, toes coming together, and walking out on the diagonal to either side. It doesn't matter. And then letting your body settle in that space, allowing your bones to become heavy, your seat to anchor back towards your feet in a gentle way. Nestling in and spreading out. Perhaps seeing if you can discover, if you can find some patience. Right? I have to, I mean, that's one of the big issues in my life. It's so hard to be patient, right? But I'm constantly reminding myself that you can't rush the seed into becoming a flower. Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Hi. So we're in child's pose. We just started. And when you get there, you can decide if you want to stay in the center of it or put some support even underneath you, a pillow, anything, or if you want to take a walk over on the diagonal to one side, and we'll be there on that side for another minute, and then I'll let you know when that is, and you can walk your way over to the other side. Nestling in again, sinking and spreading out, and inviting your knots to keep untangling little by little, allowing the knots to untangle. Mm-hmm. Again, yeah. Still in child's pose. But if you walked yourself over to the diagonal, you can go ahead and walk over to the other side now and take the same stretch in the opposite direction. Once you arrive, just gently relaxing, resettling in. And pouring your attention here into your still body, allowing your body to slow down so much that you can feel the aliveness of your inner world, right? When the outer body slows down, when we quit pushing and surging ahead, we can fall back into ourselves. Right? So falling back, listening, and feeling what's present right now, whatever it is. Turning down the volume on your mind so that you can turn up the volume on your receptivity. Breathing lightly, deeply, and slowly. When we can do that, we're training our nervous system to be able to find that state, right, what we call ventral vagal, right, when we feel calm, when we feel connected, centered, and to notice when you leave that state so that you can find your way back. So take another breath or two, and then we're going to move right from this child's pose into a puppy. And so if you need some shaking off on the way out, please take care of yourself. Otherwise, you can climb right up onto all fours, have your seat over your knees, and then walk your arms further forward so that your spine dangles. You can bring your elbows to the floor and let your head drop, or you might come all the way down, head to the floor. You can always pile as many props underneath you as you wish to. Okay, so really just going for the sensation here of the spine like a hammock between your tail and your crown, letting it dangle so that the front of the torso, chest, belly can spread out as the back gets this wonderful compression. As you settle in, noticing the front of your body. Notice the front of the body light and spacious. Let your chest sink towards the floor. And notice a spreading from the inside out, like honey melting. You're checking in here with your hands. Could there be some care, some tenderness about how you place your hands or the touch of your hands on the surface they're on? And letting the muscles in your face soften. Allowing the whole outer covering of you, your skin, to be both sensitive and soft at the same time, like an antenna, listening, tuning in, but also softening, becoming more silken, more cashmere-like, allowing your skin to drape over your bones. The teacher one time said that in yoga, the mind and the heart, you can think of them differently, that the mind is like a golden temple that you want to keep really clean. You want to sweep it all the time. You wouldn't let people come in and walk with their muddy shoes all over it. But the heart is different. The heart, instead of a clean golden temple, the heart is more like a garden of wildflowers. And you want to soak it. You want to just saturate it with your breath and with your loving attention, so that every color flower can grow in your heart. soak your heart with your breath. Let it become saturated. And begin to come on back now. You can start to crawl your paws back underneath your shoulders. Coming to all fours could feel good here. Just doing a little bit of cat back, really rounding your spine in a dramatic way. And any other movement of the spine, the shoulders, the hips that might want to happen. Or you all know by now, you can also just be still and feel. But either way, you're feeling what you've stirred up here, right? You dropped a spark into the machine. You stirred things up. And these in-between moments when the shape ends, there's this beautiful after pose where you can really feel what you stirred up. And we're going to do a little bit for the wrists, a little interlude here of wrists and neck. And so I'm curling my toes under on all fours. And you can see how this feels. Just feel it out if you want to turn your palms out so that your fingers face out to opposite sides. You can do that. And some of you could turn them even a little further towards your knees. You can go incrementally and just be gentle and go inch by inch. And some of you might turn your hands all the way around so that your fingers point back towards your knees. So anywhere along the way, whatever feels like you're giving your wrists some benefit, some good medicine here. And if you want to just be still, you can be still. Or if you want to move a bit, sometimes it's nice to do a little bit of circling around the wrist, letting your shoulders make some circles, your hips make some circles. And the invitation here is to keep the toes curled as we slowly start to shift back and sit into toes pose. But if at any point you need to uncurl your toes, please do. It's less about the toes here and it's going to be more about the neck. So what I'm doing is I'm keeping my toes curled. I'm trying to keep my hands on the ground as long as possible as I slowly, so slow, shift my hips back towards my heels. So that little by little, inch by inch, not even inch, like cell by cell, I can peel my hands up off the ground, getting such a spread across the whole palm, fingers. And so when you do come to kneeling or toes pose, toes tucked under, you can take your head and drop right ear to right shoulder. And here too, we'll go incrementally, little by little. So if that's where you stay right here. Otherwise, you can take the next step, which is right arm's going to come up and over your head. I'm hooking my middle finger right underneath the earlobe. It kind of fits right into that space there so that my arm adds a little more weight to the head. Turns out to be too much, let the arm go. Okay, if you want to add one more thing here, you can take your left arm and just slip it behind your back. Not looking for any specific place or reaching with any kind of urgency, but just finding a natural place for your arm to land behind your back. And then one more thing here. So if you want to try a little breathing exercise here, it's called the physiological sigh. And it goes like this. You sniff, sniff, and then long exhale. You can exhale through your nose or your mouth, either way, but the sniff, sniff is through the nose. So taking 2 or 3 or 4 of those, depending on how long your out breath is. And with your jaw, let all the muscles of your face loosen. And then when you release so slow with all the delicate tissues in the neck, we want to be so careful. Coming back to hands underneath you on your all fours here, and you can roll your ankles around, curl your toes in. If you want to take a top of the foot stretch, you can sit back on the tops of your feet and walk your hands back behind you and try to lift your knees up off the ground to stretch across the front of the ankles and feet. And then we'll do it one more time, other side of the neck. So toes curled, if you're doing that part, sitting onto your heels. And this time it's going to be left ear to left shoulder. Let your arms be heavy, just like waterfalls pouring out of your shoulders. You can stay, or you can reach your left arm over your head, tuck your middle finger under your earlobe. Or you can stay like that, or the right arm will take a gentle wrap back of the wrist coming towards the low back. And then if you liked it, if it felt like it was beneficial, you can take that physiological sigh a few times. Sniff, sniff, long exhale. It's like when like little kids do it naturally, right? When they have like a meltdown or they cry and then they go, right? And so it's this really beautiful natural thing that our body knows to do to put us into ventral vagal state, into that state of calm, connectedness, ease. One or two more of those, and then you can let your arms release and your neck right itself again. If you can keep your toes curled under, for one more shape here, we'll bring the hands around to the back of the head and releasing them right at the base of your skull. And then you can let your chin drop towards your collarbones and your elbows come towards each other ever so slightly, gently. So heavy elbows, heavy head. And then releasing that with just as much care as everything else. And one more time, you can let your feet release. So you're either coming to all fours, curling your toes, rolling your ankles, and or sitting on the tops of your feet to walk your fingers back and pick your knees up off the ground any little bit. And then we shall move on. So we're going to do, I actually didn't know what to call this pose. I just called it arm compression, which was so not poetic. But then the other day I saw it called sleeping owl. And now I like it so much better. So sleeping owl looks like this. We'll take one arm, and we're all going to do the same arm because we're going to do a few poses in a row. So left arm is going to go underneath the right arm. I'm sliding it over to the right, palm down. And then my right arm is going to crawl a little bit further forward. And I can rest my elbow on the ground. And little by little, I'm going to see what it feels like to drop the weight of my body on top of that left arm. Head can come down to the floor, or if you got pillow, block, anything at all that you want to rest your head on, that could be nice too. And it's interesting to play a little bit with where the compression is on that bottom arm. Like if you curl your toes under and push your whole body a little bit forward, it doesn't have to be much, just a little forward or a little back. It changes what's happening with that bottom arm. And so you can be in control of where you feel the sensation the most. And then this one, you're just letting gravity do the work here. Once you find the shape with the arm underneath you, then just let your bones get heavy. Settle your bones. Back to breathing lightly, deeply, and slowly. And allowing the fullness of you to settle into the ground. Just like when we carry the abundance, the fullness of the summer and the fall, we carry it with us towards winter and back down to the ground, decompose. So like a leaf that's fallen, let yourself really settle into the ground as if you're decomposing, allowing your bones to move apart Let your legs stream and root. And it's awkward. I know this one is a little awkward or a lot awkward. But for me, this practice, it's to learn and to relearn not to abandon myself. When things get awkward or challenging or difficult, scary, uncomfortable, can I not abandon myself? This one doesn't need as much time, I think, as some of the other ones because it is quite strong. And so here what you can do is you can start to lift your head and slide your right arm back so that you can press your forearm into the ground, get some relief for that bottom arm. And then I'm going to take my right knee and start to slide it up like a half frog, right knee coming up towards the outside of the right hip. And then I can take my right arm and just peel it open and back behind me to come into a supine twist here, twisted roots. And so you can adjust this, of course, if you want to put a pillow underneath your right knee, bring the floor to meet you, make it a little more easeful. You could do that, or any which way that helps you fit yourself into this where you can really sustain it for a bit. Finding a twist that feels like the medicine you need right now. And then settling your bones once again. Settling the back of your skull. Softening the skin on your face. Noticing the front of your heart light and spacious. Trying to cultivate a sense of spreading out from within. Melting like honey. There's a story that your mind wants to keep telling you. Try to gently put it down, and the best way I find to let the story go is to bring the mind somewhere else. The mind likes to have a job. If you don't give it a job, it will find its own job, and often it's not a real beneficial one. And so the job can be to come back to that 4-part breath where you just notice your inhale. Notice it at the tips of your nostrils, the upper lip. Notice its temperature, its pace. Notice your exhale. Are you able to breathe all the way fully out? Are you rushing? Not getting to the bottom, or can you get all the way to the bottom? Perhaps you could feel how the inhale lives in your heart and the exhale lives in your pelvic floor. And then you can find the spaces between the breath, breathing in, noticing the space before the exhale. And after you breathe out, settling into that sweet emptiness at the bottom of your out breath. I'm going to do one more pose here before we have an interlude and then go to the other side. And so to come out of this twist, start to roll towards the back of your body. Then how about a half happy baby? So right foot will be in the air. If you're able to, you can reach up towards the pinky toe edge of it. You can always bend your left knee and put your left foot on the ground. With a bent left knee, it makes it a little more accessible sometimes to get that right foot. Okay, and if you can't reach the right foot, it's no problem at all. You can always hook your arm around the back of your right thigh or use a strap or a sock or anything to hold on to over that right foot. And so have happy baby. And you do have to use a little effort to hold on with your hand on the foot, but as much as you're able to loosen muscle from bone, to feel the broadness of the back of your body, let the back of your body spread out, in the front of your body soften downward. Noticing the hand that's not holding the foot. Could that one loosen a bit? Could that one unfold and be a little softer? Perhaps you tuck your chin a tiny bit so that there's space all around the neck. And you can soften your throat as you breathe. Notice anywhere that you're working where you don't need to be, any muscles that are contracting that you can loosen, anywhere that's clenched, you can unfold, unbraid, unknot. For me in this one, I often find that the bottom leg is the one that tries to do all the work when it doesn't have to. So if you could let your bottom leg get looser and heavier and spread out on the ground, go for it. Pour your attention into your left leg and let it get heavy. And pour your attention into your pelvis. Feel the bones of your pelvis move in the direction of the ground. Back, the sides, the front. Pour your awareness into your rib cage and allow it to descend in the direction of the earth, softening downward. And you can let that go. You can let go of your foot. You can move or you can rest. Take some moments for yourself here. Feel what you've stirred up. Feel what you feel with minimal story, minimal judgment, just listening to the hum of your inner life. We will do all of that on the other side, but first we'll take a Sphinx pose. And so you can roll over onto your front or from wherever you are. Come to your belly down, legs streaming behind you, position, elbows on the earth, palms connected to the ground, feeling the weight of your fingertips on the ground. And deciding if this is where you stay or if you add any variation, you can always put a block underneath you. Sometimes I love to put the block right up against my forehead so that my head not only has a place to land, but you also get the bonus of compression at the front of the skull. One option. There's so many ways to be in this one, so find a shape that suits you. And then let your body rest in it. And let your belly and your pelvis sink into the floor. Feel your legs become heavy and grounded. Feel your skin, your soft skin stretched over your bones. Feel the skin on your bones. Try to let your breath here be really delicate, like the wings of a butterfly. Light but deep breathing. Legs streaming behind you. Inhaling, feeling the breath in your heart. Exhaling, feeling the breath in your pelvis. Doing your best here to not abandon yourself so that you can deepen the intimacy that you have with your body, training yourself not to run away. One last check in here. Just look all around your whole landscape. Water the places that feel dry, sharp. Let your attention on settle on places that feel sticky or contracted. Invite every cell inside you to move away from every other cell, so that you get the sense of spreading out in all directions. And when you come out, it's okay if you feel like you just aged 100 years. It's very normal. So when you come out slowly and give yourself care. You can come to child's pose, you can come to all fours, you can lie there flat out on the ground, feeling what you feel, letting your body drink in all that good work that you just did. When you come out, so you compressed the tissues in the low back. And when you release, that compression gets spread out. The benefit, the nectar of that work now is being spread out to every tissue, every cell in your body. It's all just drinking it in. Every fiber, the living matrix of tissue inside you is being nourished right now. And we're going to head over to the other side of that sequence. And so we'll come to the sleeping owl, my new favorite pose, just because of the name, on the other side. And so this time it's the right arm under the left arm, palm down, right arm slides over to the left arm can crawl a little further forward, straight ahead of you. If you want to bring pillows or blocks or anything to rest your head on, go for it, or your head can come in the direction of the ground. And you might adjust to see if you need to shift your body any amount in any direction to make the compression on that bottom arm feel like what you need tonight. And then settling your bones again. Settle your bones, soften the skin on your face. Let the pose saturate you. like a leaf decomposing into the ground. Let there be spaces between your bones. Let your body fall into the earth like you are becoming soil. So to transition out of this one, this time the left knee is going to slide up towards the outside of your hip. And as you do that, you can start to peel your left arm back and open it behind you, bringing any pillows or props to soften the sensation if need be. Spreading out on the ground. So take up space here. You can gather, if you want 10 pillows to help you here, you take all the pillows in your house. Whatever helps you feel safe and supported. This is what we call ventral vagal, right? We have 3 states of our nervous system. Ventral vagal is when we feel safe and present. We can make connections with people. And then there's fight or flight. And then there's like total, dead stop, falling apart. And there are many different ways to anchor ourselves in ventral vagal. There's movement, there's breath, there's music, there's mindfulness. Each of us finds our own pathway. And I think it's our work as humans, right, to go on that explorative journey and figure out what does it. Are you a mover? Are you an artist creating things? Are you a music lover? It's about learning what it feels like to be anchored in this state and learning about what pathways bring you back here. Right? So I know when I'm not there, I know that I can take actions to get back there. And the more I travel those pathways back to ventral vagal, the easier it becomes, the richer those pathways are. So take a look around your body. Just notice any places of defensiveness, of resistance, and to try to move from contraction to expansion as much as possible. Breathing into a soft belly. I was listening to Deb Dana today. She's a brilliant nervous system, vagus nerve expert. And she was saying, like, look, regulated enough is all we need. It doesn't have to be like some super magical state of unicorns barfing rainbows and everything just perfect and glittery all the time. Regulated enough. And our goal is not to be there all the time. We go in and out, and that's how we grow. Our nervous system is reshaped every time we come back. And I know for myself, when I get dysregulated, I feel like I'm going to be there forever. Like, oh, this is where I live now. And every time I find my way back, I'm reminded, oh, there it is. There's a pathway. And we practice building those pathways so that we know that we won't get stuck there forever. So go ahead and come on out into the half happy baby. So as you undo yourself here, you can reach for your left leg, left foot in the air, pinky toe edge of the foot if possible. You can always bend your right knee, bring your foot to the ground. Any other way of making the shape fit you is welcomed. And then feeling as much of yourself move in the direction of the ground as possible. Let all the waters of you fall towards the ground, slowly descending. Feel the weight of your pelvis, the weight of your rib cage, the weight of your skull. Attention to your right leg and allowing all muscles to loosen from bone. Settling your bones, settling the back of your skull, softening your face, and softening your throat. Another thing that Deb Dana was talking about that I loved, she said we can soften into any situation, right? There are a lot of situations that happen that we don't necessarily choose, right? It's not the way we planned, it's not what we wanted, but it's what we have. And we can soften into it. So another breath or two. And when you let go, to take any last movements before we rest. So whatever your body craves, could be a full happy baby if you want to bring the right leg up to meet the left for a few breaths. If you want to squeeze your knees in towards your chest, that could feel good. If you want to take a little bridge or a windshield wiper on your back, you could do that. And then we will move in the direction of Shavasana. There's no hurry to get there. At some point, giving yourself time to soak it in. And feel free, if you like, I think, especially after that half happy baby on each side, might be nice to do legs up the wall or toss your legs over a couch or a chair if you've got one nearby. Just a suggestion. You don't have to, but if that feels like that would be good for you, you could do that. Otherwise, any resting Shavasana shape on your back, on your side, or sitting, allowing your body, wherever it is, to spread out like a quilt. Emptying any muscular tension. Feeling the weight of the bones heavy. Feeling your organs sink to the back of your body. Slowing down. And letting yourself float downward. Decomposing. Rumi said it so well, to flow down and down in always widening rings of being. Flow down and down in always widening rings of being. Stay resting if you'd like to. Got time and space for it. You don't have to get up, but if you would like to start climbing your way back from the bottom of the ocean to the surface, thinking little by little, call yourself back, call in tiny gentle movements, the small joints at first, fingers, toes, and then inviting the bigger ones in as you're ready, elbows, knees. Sit. Bring your hands to where they feel soothing and supportive. And I'll chant one Om if you want to join or just listen. Om. My friends. Grateful for you all.